Nashville Public Radio serves Middle Tennessee in many ways every day, including through this podcast. You can support it by leaving a review or rating, by telling a friend about it, or by contributing at wpln.org/give.
This is the Nash Villager Podcast. It's February 18th, 2026. On this day in 1943, workers in East Tennessee broke ground on what would become a truly groundbreaking facility. I'm sorry. That's a lazy pun, but I just couldn't resist. Anyway, this facility was part of the super-secret Manhattan Project campus in Oak Ridge, and it was codenamed Y-12. I'm Nina Cardona, and this is your daily digest of what's happening around Middle Tennessee with historical context from Nashville Public Radio, WPLN News. I'm actually on vacation as you hear this and pre-recording this portion of the episode, but in a few minutes, one of my colleagues will take over to get you up to date on the latest news. In the remarkable rush to develop an atomic weapon, Y-12 was devoted to enrich uranium through an electromagnetic process using devices called calutrons. That uranium was needed to fuel the bombs that experts at other Manhattan Project sites were designing. The scale of what was going on at breakneck speed was really quite remarkable. Calutrons were huge assemblages of tanks, coils, and giant magnets arranged in a racetrack formation. When the crews broke ground on Y-12, the scientists still hadn't decided just how big those calutrons should be or how many of them should be built. And remember, the idea that they would work at all was still just theoretical. As construction got underway, the designers rushed to stay a step ahead of the work on the ground. Materials were hard to come by, and they were needed in huge amounts. They reportedly used 38 million board feet of lumber. When it became impossible to source enough copper for the electrical components, the Army borrowed almost 15,000 tons of silver bullion from the United States Treasury, transformed it into strips of metal, and incorporated it into the devices the crews were building from scratch. Now, I've hinted at the size, but here are some hard figures. Each of the Calutron racetracks was 122 feet long, 77 feet wide, and 15 feet high. The initial designs called for 5 racetracks using a total of 500 vacuum tanks, housed in a group of 3 buildings, each one longer than a football field. Not to mention additional areas for prepping materials and for handling the enriched uranium once it was extracted from the tanks. And it all had to be constructed at absolute top speed. Things went so fast that 5,000 staff were hired and trained just a few months later. And by the fall, they were making initial attempts to use the calutrons. Those early test runs were kind of a mess. Welds failed, circuits malfunctioned, magnet coils shorted out, and even after some retooling, the calutrons were a maintenance nightmare. They operated in fits and stops. But they showed that the concept was sound. About a year after the groundbreaking, Y-12 had produced 200 grams of enriched uranium, enough to send to the Manhattan Project site in New Mexico for experiments there. There were a lot of challenges to sort out before Y-12 could make enough fuel for a usable bomb. In the end, it took retooling, redesigning, building even more racetracks, and combining the Calutron process with the output from another uranium enrichment experiment happening on another part of the Oak Ridge campus. Today, Oak Ridge has been split into multiple uses. We hear a lot about the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, which is basically a sprawling office park for highly advanced research facilities. Only a part of the secret city the military built in a cluster of valleys is still an operational military facility. And that part is still called by its original name, Y-12. Today, it's far more than the original cluster of buildings containing calutrons. Now it's a complex of its own, with multiple facilities dealing in one way or another with weapons of mass destruction. And now that actually includes a task that is the exact opposite of its original mission. Y-12 is where old nuclear weapons are sent so they can safely be taken apart and decommissioned. In just a few minutes, this week's edition of Where Whensday, that's coming up after the newscast.
Thematic Static on WNXP is the mixtape we make together, a themed set loosely organized by you, the listener, handpicking songs according to a theme. Airing first Thursdays at 9 a.m. and again Saturdays at 9 a.m., Thematic Static plucks your requests from the socials at WNXP Nashville and by voice memo at 615-320-9100. Thematic Static, the mixtape we make together, supported by United Record Pressing, only on WNXP.
For WPLN News in Nashville, I'm LaTanya Turner. 2 state lawmakers are calling for Nashville Electric Service to relinquish its customers in Rutherford County following unprecedented outages during Winter Storm Fern. In addition to serving all of Nashville, NES also provides power in parts of 6 surrounding counties. Representatives Mike Sparks and Robert Stevens of Smyrna say their constituents would be better served by Middle Tennessee Electric, which is based in Rutherford County and provides power for most people in the area. The Tennessean reports the lawmakers are calling for a meeting between NES, MTE, and the city of Laverne. They say if the utility doesn't transfer customers there, it should offer board representation to each city and county outside of Nashville that it serves. Sumner County and Hendersonville's mayors have also called for a seat at the table. However, Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell says Metro and state law requires NES board members to be Nashville taxpayers. Residents in Cheatham County have also circulated a petition to break up with NES, with more than 200 saying they want to get power from Cumberland Electric. The role of religion in public schools has sparked debate in the Tennessee State House. WPLN's Mariana Bacallao reports on a bill that would allow schools to display the 10 Commandments.
Usually, the separation of church and state prevents schools from promoting one religion over another. Tennessee Representative Michael Hale says that under his proposal, schools could display the 10 Commandments in a historical sense, along with the Constitution and other historical documents.
You know, when we talk about the Declaration of Independence, the matter of fact is that it mentions God 4 times, emphasizing the belief in a higher power as the source of rights and moral authority.
Democratic Representative Justin J. Pearson opposed the legislation, arguing that displaying the commandments would count as promoting one religion over another. As a Christian, Pearson says that the 10 Commandments are not as important as the 2 commandments Jesus gives in the New Testament.
To love God with all your heart and to love your neighbor as yourself. And in a body where we struggle to do that, we struggle to love immigrants, we struggle to love LGBTQIA plus people, we struggle to love folks the way that Christ has called us to. Posting the 10 Commandments isn't going to bless, condone, or stop the harm and the pain that this body is inflicting upon people.
Hale argues that regardless of faith, the commandments contain good lessons for children.
Not killing, not committing adultery, not stealing, not bearing false witness, not coveting. Listen, we could cut a whole lot off of our budget if we just heeded to those. And if we taught those to our children, what a better society and what a better country we would be today.
The bill has passed the House, but still needs to pass the Senate. Mariana Bacallao, WPLN News.
2 Tennessee health providers are working to open a freestanding emergency room in Fairview. That's a town of about 10,000 people in Williamson County. Ascension St. Thomas is partnering with Dixon Medical Associates on the $20 million project. In addition to emergency care, it would offer outpatient services. A news release says that the project would need the state to sign off in the form of a certificate of need. That would mean the providers proved there is enough demand for the facility. Ascension is already pursuing a certificate of need for a similar project in Rutherford County, which would open a freestanding ER in Murfreesboro. The state's new Universal Voucher Program is very popular. Applications are nearly tripling the number of available slots for next year, but there isn't much data to show if these vouchers are helping kids perform better academically. There is, however, a state report showing that children in the pilot voucher program are underperforming compared to their peers in public schools. Chelsea Crawford is the executive director for Tennessee CAN. She says the Universal Voucher Program does not have the same testing requirements as the pilot program.
schools that are participating have an option to administer the TCAP assessment or a nationally normed reference test, which is essentially a national test. It's not necessarily grounded in our Tennessee academic standards, but schools do have that flexibility. Yeah. So there is a little bit of difference in how the programs are set up.
But she says there may be more transparency with these test results in the future. You'll find more news anytime at WPLN.org.
I'm Marquise Munson, here with another edition of Nashville Public Radio's Where Whensday, keeping you up to date with the happenings in Nashville this week. Tonight, Runo Plum performs at Cannery Hall's Row 1 stage. Billy Strings performs 2 nights at Bridgestone Arena, Friday and Saturday. Also on Saturday for the People Improv Show is at the Dark Horse Theater. Sunday night, Robert Glasper is at City Winery, and on Monday night, Sam Henshaw is at the Basement East. We wrap up this week's listings Tuesday with Jesse Wells at the Ryman. For more events, head over to WNXP.org/events. This week for Where Whensday, we feature the Chinese New Year celebration at Centennial Park Musicians Corner this Saturday. Hosted by Chinese Arts Alliance of Nashville, the free, family-friendly event welcomes the community to a discovery and celebration of Chinese culture.
My name is Jen Lin. I'm the founder, director of the Chinese Arts Alliance of Nashville. Nashville today is very different. When we first moved in, we have a lot of newcomers bring all kind of richness of their own arts and culture. And my training, I'm trained dancer and choreographer. So I want to well use my discipline and my art to connect people and to promote Chinese American arts and culture. And that's how it started. We have several performing teams. We have most popular Chinese lion dance team, and we also have Chinese dance team. We also do contemporary dance, and we also have Nashville Dragon Dance team. And then the new group that we have is Chinese Drumming Infusion. We started at a little park near the 21st Avenue and Blackmore, that little corner park of Vanderbilt. And then we started there in 2016. And later, we outgrew the number. And then we approached Metro Park, Centennial Park, say, hey, we like to bring this program to the Centennial Park. I think the unique part of this program is not just Chinese Arts Alliance, several performing teams. We also invite schools with a Chinese language program. And I like them to show off what Chinese language they learn in school. And they also can see fellow Chinese language learners from other schools. And they are not Chinese, but they speak Chinese. They really warm my heart. This year, something special is we are going to do a tongue twister competition for Chinese language speakers and learners. And it will be fun. We are total inclusive group. You will find lion dancers, non-Chinese, but they have training because Chinese art is the form. Even Chinese people who don't learn the form, they cannot do Chinese dance or lion dance. For example, our dragon dance team, probably 80% non-Chinese, and then lion dancers, 80% are Chinese, but that's the 20% not. We feel by hang-on experience, that's how we like to promote the Chinese arts culture for total understanding and appreciation, the joy and the art of the Chinese American tradition. I feel the art and tradition that we present is universal. So it don't have to be Chinese to celebrate this. It's all about good intention. It's all about connection. We prepare a lot of family-friendly station for everybody to have a hand-on experience, like tangram. You have to be creative to create the horse images. How to do Chinese yo-yo, a little introduction about what Tai Chi is and Kung Fu is. And then we collaborate with many organizations like Frisk, Art Museum, Sister City of Nashville, Metro Park Dance Theater Department, and MMPD Mounted Patrol will be there because it's a horse year. And then we can learn about Mounted Patrol. It's not just about Chinese Arts Alliance, it's about the community. Get together. And then this year we focus on horse. Horse, a lot of energy. And then charging forward and graceful at the same time. And last year will be snake year. So we are peeling the scale or the skin of the snake and charging forward to success. So hopefully everybody have a very successful year.
For more information on Chinese New Year celebration and other events happening this week, visit WNXP.org. My name is Marquise Munson, and thank you for listening to another edition of Where Whensday.
As long as it doesn't mean it's a big sickness.
Thanks for listening to the Nashvillager podcast. We take this look at Nashville news every weekday. If you like it, go ahead and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and tell a friend or give us a mention on your socials. It really helps get the word out. And of course, everything at WPLN News is listener supported. You can become a member at WPLN.org. And that's it for today. Thanks so much for listening. Let's make this day a good one. And we'll catch back up tomorrow.